And hello and welcome. My name is Jennifer Stecklow, and I'm the Director of Learning Solutions and Instructional at Real Time Cases, and will be serving as your facilitator for our session today. We are also excited to have two very special guests joining us today, Alyssa Lovegrove from Georgetown University and Dana Rosenberg from KIND. So thank you all for joining. All right, I am back. You have to love technology, so looks like my connection just resets, and we'll just keep going forward. The RTC team is also here inside of the text chat. So team, why don't you go ahead and say hello inside the chat, and you'll see these text messages start to appear from our real-time cases support team. So if you have any questions or if you need any assistance, we will be monitoring the chat. In fact, why don't we do a quick overview so you're comfortable with the platform and you know how to send a chat message. So the first thing is we'll be looking at the very lower bar, and it contains a variety of tools that you're going to be using today. As indicated with A, that is your profile. Hey, Nick, thank you so much for sending the message. Your profile photo.
Not a problem.
Yeah, and you changed your profile photo. I love it. Thank you. So you can change your profile photo like Nick did, as well as Rick, by clicking that A and following the prompts. Next door to that is your microphone. So if your icon looks like the one you see in the picture with a microphone with a slash through it, we will not be able to hear you. So if you're at home and you have barking dogs in the background, we're not going to hear that. You'll know if your microphone is active. If you click that, it's going to change to green. So that's how you'll know if you'll have your microphone is active. Next door is your hand raise. In fact, go ahead and click the hand raise. Let's see who's number one. Who's the first person to find it? Oh, Andrew. I should have said anybody except for RTC. But yes, I could see you guys all found the hand raise. Great. So that is a toggle switch. So if you click that hand once again, it will lower for yourselves, and I can also clear them as well. Oh, so if you need to grab our attention, feel free to raise your hand, or you can just type directly into the chat. So you can click on just like Nick did earlier, and you can send a message. So go ahead and open up the chat because I have a prompt here. I'd like to know where you guys are joining from today. So go ahead and select the chat. And you know what? I just noticed my picture is not correct. It's pointing to the hand raise. So let's look at that. There's the chat bubble. So look for the talk bubble, click that, and on the right-hand side, you'll know that the talk bubble has opened because you'll see on the right-hand side, the chat has joined. And if it'll say something, you can share the location of where you're joining from. So I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm going to hit enter, and that message will appear. So go ahead and type in where you're joining our session today. There we go. We got somebody from Reston. All right, Detroit. Excellent. Leesburg, New York. Wonderful. All right, San Francisco. Fantastic. I actually came from Chico, so very close to San Francisco. Wonderful. So if you don't find this distracting, feel free to leave the chat open. In Seattle, great. Nashville, wonderful. You can leave the chat open, and we'll use that to answer any of your questions. Or if you do find it distracting, you can close it by hitting that purple X, and you'll just get pop-up messages. So entirely your choice. We also have the icon that shows the participants list. So if you're curious to see who's here, right now we have 25 people logged into our session. You can simply click that list and you'll see who is joining and where they're from. Or not where they're from, but who's joined. Last but not least, the lower right-hand corner, that is a picture of the current speaker. So most likely you're seeing my picture just like the one you see in this image. Now, if you click on that picture, not on the one on the screen, but on your actual platform, it's going to switch your view. So my picture will become part of the main screen, and the presentation will go in the lower corner. I like to point that out just in case you hit it on accident. All you have to do is click on that image again in the lower right-hand corner, and it's going to switch views. So feel free to experiment with that, and hopefully you're back on the speaker view. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to start with just a quick overview of real-time cases, who we are. Then you're going to hear from our partners. We have a faculty partner and a company partner. That would be Alyssa as our faculty partner and Dana, who is going to be our company partner. And we're also going to talk about looking forward. For those of you who like time roadmaps, I'm sure some of you out there do, this is an estimate of where we're going to be figuring out our times. So we have about 15 minutes for this introduction, and I better get going on that. We have 10 minutes each for our guest speakers. We have space for some questions, and then we're going to talk about looking forward. And for those of you who can stick around, you can do a demo of the platform. So that is what we're going to be accomplishing today. If that sounds great to you, if you have your chat open, you can go ahead and give me an emoticon. You'll notice all the way on the lower right-hand corner of that, there's a smiley face. And those are those emoticons. So you can give a thumbs up or a smiley face or a laughing. We'll be using those today. Excellent. I see that. Great. So let's get started. What is real-time cases? This is our company slogan. Real companies, real cases in real time. And for the most part, it defines itself. We bring real business who have real current business needs and develop instructional material that educators can use and customize and bring into their learning environment. You'll hear more from Alyssa on how she uses the platform, and you'll also be hearing from Dana representing the real company area. Our evaluation team has been working very closely to gather student feedback, and we conducted a focus group with Alyssa's class. And this is one quote that stood out to us. It really solidified what we do. Knowing that the companies are going through these problems in real time gives me more incentive to do the work because I feel like I could actually help solve the problem, which doesn't happen when the case is 20 years old. Because these are relevant and they're real, this is the trend that we're starting to see, that students reacting to our material and platform. So because they're able to solve these real problems in the safety of their classroom, it's allowing them to have the experience before they graduate and join the real world. So in 2015, Hart Research and Associates published their findings from a survey of business professionals and students, and this was conducted on behalf of the Association of American Colleges and Universities. I'm going to put that in the link here. Oops. I have my old chat message there. I have the research link here. So if those of you that are interested in reading this study, it's right there inside the text chat. You can open it in a new window. But the main objective of the survey was to understand which learning outcomes employers believe were most important to acquire to succeed in today's economy, as well as to determine how prepared they felt college graduates were. So to give you an idea of who the survey participants were, there were 400 executives from the private and non-private sectors who had 25 or more employees, with 25% of them having their new hires would have a 2-year associate's degree or a 4-year degree. Now the 613 students who were surveyed, they were all within 1 year of graduating from a 4-year, or they were transferring from a 2-year to a 4-year program. So 304 were from a public 4-year, and 158 were from a 2-year, and we also had, I skipped one, the 151 from private 4-year. So those are just to give you a little bit of the demographics of the survey respondents. So in this survey, they quoted that 4 out of 5 employers rated the following as very important. So I want to ask you guys to share which one you think is the top. So I'm going to do another survey. I'm going to place it inside the text chat. And if you click on that link, it will open in a brand new window for you. And you can choose which one you feel they marked as the most important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop so we can see what you guys chose. All right, so there we go. Hopefully you all have had a chance to take the survey, and let's see what your results are. Ah, interesting. 5 of you, the highest one is C. The ability to apply knowledge and skills to real world settings. Are you guessing that one because of our name, real time cases with real world? Interesting. The ability to work effectively in teams was ranked second, and then the ability to communicate effectively was ranked third. It's actually kind of interesting that you guys were picking that. Okay, so let's remember what you guys considered was number one, because I think you might be a little surprised. One. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So what was ranked number one was the ability to communicate orally. Now, does that surprise anybody? You can type in the text if that surprised you. Oh, sorry, Rick. I apologize for that. That came up in the text chat. But does that surprise you that that would be ranked as highest? 85%. So 4 out of 5 employers rank that as very important. So what you guys ranked as number one was the ability to apply knowledge and skills to real world settings, which was ranked by 80%. So what do you think? Do you think students rank the same set of skills similarly? Do you think they were higher, lower, or similar? Go ahead and type it in the text chat. And I should say RTC cannot type their answers, right? You guys will know. Type in the text chat. Do you guys think there would be similar? The students would rank them similar? You're going to say that the students say the same as we did. Interesting. Students would probably rank them lower. Okay, well, let's take a look. Let's see what your guesses are. They were very similar in the regard to what employers were looking for. But the largest gaps were between the very first two, which were marked more important between employers and students. So if you look at this is a 7% gap for the first one and a 6% gap on the second. And the researchers theorized that the reason why is that students felt that these were basic, quote unquote, basic areas, so they didn't rank them as high as a need. But that is what employers are looking for. So it comes to our takeaway. What is this? How do students prove to potential employers that they have skills that are critical thinking, problem solving, and that they can do things creatively, they can work in teams, and they can apply their knowledge to real world settings? So today, faculty do a variety of activities. I'm sure you guys are already thinking, you do assignments, you do presentations. But this is where real-time cases comes in to help educators bring CEOs and companies into their classroom. And we provide valuable experiences through interactive learning activities that faculty can customize to meet their learning objectives. So students work on relevant problems that sometimes do not have an answer and require some creative thinking. And you'll hear Alyssa touch on that later in the presentation. And this process creates an experience that students can take with them after they graduate to potential employers. So they don't necessarily have to say they have experience with mergers and acquisitions, but they can say, we studied WeddingWire's purchase of Botus.net, which was completed in late 2014, and here's what I suggested that they do. So how do we do it? We spend time interviewing executive teams about their history, their issues, their concerns. We want to get to the things that keep them up at night. And most recently, we partnered with Kind, and you're going to be hearing from Dana about that experience and what they're hoping to achieve. So they're just one of our growing list of partners that we work with. Once we finish the interview, we create individual learning activities that are then hosted on our platform. The best part is that faculty have unlimited access to our growing cases, which right now is about 120 cases that you can choose from. And you can do anything from discussions, reports, presentations, group projects, as well as case study competitions. But you might be thinking, that's great, but what are students saying? Well, we spent some time interviewing our students who are using our platform. And right now we have responses from about 312 students. And just to give you a little bit of background, they do have some experiences using other products. I don't think this would surprise anybody that Harvard Business Publishing is going to be the majority of that experience with 64%. But this one just makes me smile every time I see it. Students that couldn't remember the name, that was about 15%, so they knew what it was. Some of them never used a case study before, and we also had a few that used Ivy and PwC. But when asked if they had a choice, would they rather use the real-time cases platform or other case materials, 95% of them chose real-time cases over these other case materials. Did the real-time case experience give them what they would expect in the real world? You know, seeing 87% gave us we're pretty happy about that. There was a few that weren't sure, and maybe they weren't sure because they didn't have real world experience. So we have a few maybes in there that we thought was a little interesting, and we were going to study a little bit. And then finally, how satisfied are you with the real-time case experience? So over 85% of those surveyed did say that they were satisfied, but you'll see that the larger number is satisfied with 59%, and only 26% with extremely satisfied. Now, part of what our mission is for spring 2016 is we want to lower this number, the neutral number, the 15%. We want students to either say, yes, they enjoyed it, or no, they did not. We don't want them on the fence anymore. So that's something we're going to be focusing on for spring 2016. Just to share some qualitative trends as well, we saw a lot of individuals identifying that it's solving real life problems, and it gives some insight into running a business because it deals with current business needs rather than dated concepts. And the structures of the case is definitely great. They really like the videos, and that's part of what we bring in the quality. So we can talk about ourselves all day, but that's why we invited our faculty and our company partner to talk a little bit more about their experience and how they're actually using the platform.